Your Excellency Mariam, as a woman, one of the youngest members of the cabinet and driving a very key portfolio, right, at a critical window in the climate debate and action plan, how do you see it when you went down to Baraka yourself? I was actually very surprised as how young this workforce was, but it was also, they're very passionate about it. They were like, I just couldn't see myself left out of this project.
It's, to be honest with you, when I was there and I saw, I hadn't had those facts. So I was on the way there, and when I landed and, seeing the units, very impressive facility, by the way. They're very conscious as well on the environmental aspect, so looking at the ecology around it, the corals, the mangroves and everything. So I was very impressed by that. But the team that then came up to me, I was like, wow, these are all young, a lot of them women, young engineers. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I don't consider myself that anymore. I feel I'm outdated now. But
it's good to have that in your toolbox, to have that knowledge, let's put it that way, right?
So impressed by their energy, their enthusiasm, and they're so proud. And this you felt it all the way when they were showing me around the facility. And, Mohamed was just in the background, letting them lead. And, they presented to me, they showed me, and I saw the heart of the unit. And they showed me where their desks are, what they do on a daily basis. I was so impressed by this. And I really see it's a game changer, what's happening here on the nuclear front. And I want you all to understand two things. The advancement in technology and innovation in this sector has gone so far that when you think of the safety aspects, it's exceeded things you can't even imagine. This is number one. Number two, you need to also understand, for us to be able to do this energy transition, we need baseline energy. So where do you get this from? How do you build your equipment that you need for solar? How do you build the equipment and the facilities for wind? How do you build the equipment, gadgets, facilities for all the other clean and renewable facilities? This is why we're talking always about a transition, a just and fast transition. Reality and a pragmatic approach is needed here.
Good. I'm going to come back to Mohamed in a similar theme, but I wanted to bring Bill back into the conversation. When this was first put on the table, it was, oh my gosh, we have a major player in the Middle East building a nuclear reactor. How are we going to have the safeguards? This makes the risk in the region even worse, Complications with Iran, of course. And then we see Saudi Arabia has the aspirations. I talked about Egypt and Turkey. Is the Middle East safer, in your view, with these facilities here or not? Or is that risk discussion now off the table with the UAE setting the example?
I think, John, that I hesitate to ever speak about regions as being homogenous. I don't talk about the Middle East any more than I talk about Africa or I talk about Asia.
Right.
Every situation is different, and UAE is different. UAE is not like some of the other countries that have stability issues. UAE, and I've given speeches about this in the past. I've always been so amazed by the story of UAE, and I wish more people around the world knew the story. That, if you go back to when you and I were in grade school, there wasn't really much.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago. There wasn't much here. This was mostly a desert area. There wasn't a lot going on here, and today, we're seeing metropolises. Some of the world's great cities are here now within a generation or two. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. And to grow a nuclear program from nothing in about a decade, another fantastic accomplishment. So UAE is different. So I think that if you look at certain countries where the stability is there, the vision is there, the ability to implement is there, I don't have any concerns but nuclear needs stability. Nuclear needs political, long-term ability to implement. And in countries that don't have that, it's not a good idea. And in countries that do have it, I think it's a very, very acceptable option.
It's interesting, though. So does this become the gold standard? And are you candidly comfortable with Russia, which is very good at atomic technology, obviously, playing a key role in Egypt and Turkey, two of the most populated countries in the region.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of controversy around Russia's participation in anything right now. But I think after all this is over, people will come back to the fact that Russia is an expert in nuclear technology and has successfully, and not a lot of suppliers have done it, successfully built nuclear facilities in other countries. And that is not that common. There aren't that many who've done it. They just finished one in Bangladesh that's operating quite well. So, whether you're comfortable with it or not, this goes beyond my pay grade. But as far as from a technical standpoint, I'm certainly comfortable with that.
Okay, Mohamed?
Yeah, if I may, John, if I may take you to yesterday at the opening remark of His Excellency Mohamed Irgawi. He mentioned the pace of changes is fast, the volatility is high, and what we discussed 4 months ago at COP26 of energy sustainability dramatically changed in the last few weeks to energy security. You've seen the change of agendas, dramatic. Her Excellency mentioned, to do this, we have to be serious. Climate change is serious, and we need serious solutions. And the UAE in 2006, and His Highness leadership Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, came up with that model, says, we need an energy plan that is secure, that's sustainable. To be able to deliver a nuclear industry from scratch for a new country, it takes a decade. Actually, for other countries, even more. It took us a decade to develop that. Today, we are enjoying a basket portfolio, a very mixed portfolio. We didn't have nuclear, we have nuclear, we have renewable, we have also the fossil fuel that we will use in a very balanced manner. So prices of volatility of oil, we have resiliency of a nuclear on the back. We have 25% of electricity in 2025 from nuclear. And that will avoid us, by the way, emitting around 22 tons of carbon annual basis. That's a huge amount of carbon emission avoidance. And this is only the beginning. So if I may take a minute here to talk about what's possible. We've done a nuclear program in a decade. The opportunities are huge. Mr. Magwood mentioned the futuristic reactors, the SMRs. We are also engaged in that discussion. And we have the knowledge and expertise, young boys and girls who are qualified. They're schooling in the US, in Korea, and very qualified to be part of this industry. We can't tap into that industry. UAE today, one of the 33 countries in the world using nuclear technology for civilian purposes to make electricity. So that puts us on the map to be engaged in international investment of nuclear industry, to be working in SMR, clean hydrogen. So the sky's the limit when it comes to opportunities, because we've done a program in 10 years, and the UAE's leadership is very ambitious. We always want to be at the head of the curve, to be number one. And having this platform today, we are positioned to go for the next steps of success.
Okay, to wrap, I'm going to go to Mohamed quickly and then give it the last word to Mariam, and we have just under 2 minutes. So I just want to get a quick reaction. You were at CERAWeek, and then I saw you at COP26. Boy, has the conversation changed, right? It's all about energy security on your end. And Mariam, what influence will this have on decision-making at COP27 and 28? Just very quickly, as we have 1.5 minutes.
So if I may summarize, John, as a clean energy powerhouse from the nuclear energy for the country has been built. It's operational. I'm very proud to say that. Our mission on securing a sustainable, secure electricity, it's been there. And our acceleration of our mission to net zero to 2050, we are on the right track. And we are accelerating through this nuclear powerhouse to be able to achieve that.
Okay, very good. But that was the language at CERAWeek as well? You were saying to me at CERAWeek, the language changed completely, right?
Yeah, so UAE managed to balance between energy security and sustainability in a very resilient and consistent manner. As Magwood mentioned, to be able to have a nuclear program of this scale and magnitude, you need to have the right leadership, the vision, and stability for decades to be able to do this right. And we've done it right so far, and the future is ahead of us.
Good. Mariam?
I think the biggest reality check we've had is that we are not ready yet to move away from hydrocarbons. At COP26, it was clean, renewable, no hydrocarbons. I think this has been now changed, that we understand that this is going to take time. We are still very heavily dependent on hydrocarbons, but we need to take the responsible approach Even on the hydrocarbon sector, we need to decarbonize as much as possible, but we must understand that we have to accelerate our efforts, but we're still very reliant on the current systems.
Good. One thing we couldn't, because of time, is get into is ADNOC's the biggest customer of ENIC, right? So it helps lower its low carbon footprint now as we speak, and it unlocks a lot of lending because of the green technology that's into place.
If I may, that's a great.
You're not going to get me in trouble going too long, are you?
Yeah, I would take the blame for it. So the nuclear industry also enables the industry to grow through access of roughly around $54 trillion of green financing. And ADNOC today, they buy a lot of the nuclear technology, nuclear clean electricity that's enabled them to be able to export the least carbon barrel of oil. And that's something also great for the UAE, gives it a competitive edge in the industries.
Great, it's a pleasure.
Just to show the responsibility of the UAE, since 1st of January this year, ADNOC is now running purely on clean and renewable energy.
Well,
okay, so just to show the decarbonization.
With nuclear in that package, right, is what you're saying. Very good. Mohamed Al-Hammadi, Mariam Al-Mheiri, and Bill Dagwood. Thanks a lot for playing the game. We got it done about 1 minute over, but not bad. Yeah, it was good. Nice round of applause for the three of them. Thank you very, very much. Yeah.